Hello everyone, I want to welcome you to this Doobly webcast. My name is Alan Breen. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I want to go through this tonight. And for those of you that are, maybe this is your first overview of Doobly, or maybe you're coming back for a second look, if you really want to understand Doobly and what's happening with Doobly, you've got to recognize that Doobly is all about customer acquisition. That is it in a nutshell. And I believe that Doobly gives every one of us the ability to be part of something that I believe is absolutely incredible. Now, why do I think it's so incredible? Well, it's simple. Doobly has the strongest product that the average consumer's ever seen. Because here's what we do. Doobly pays the consumers to do everything that they're already doing. Now, if we paid Cashback like eBates and some of these other companies out there, and we just matched their cash back that they're paying to their customers, well, it wouldn't be that exciting. But not only do we pay more cash back than any company anywhere in the world, we are the only company that has a cashback program on a global basis. We've got 12 international malls already. We've got one in the U.S., one in Canada, one in Russia. We have one in Great Britain, one in Spain, one in Italy, one in Australia. I know I'm leaving out some of the countries, but we're already on a global basis with this. Now, we're about to open up Japan. We're about to open up Brazil. Doobly is paying more cash back than any company anywhere in the world. So here's, it's just amazing to me, because if you really stop and think about it, and I know this sounds like a little oxymoron, but the fact of the matter is Doobly doesn't have a product. This is not your father's network marketing company, if you will, where you get excited about the ability to perhaps create some residual income, or maybe just add some income to the family budget, whatever the case may be, and you have to get on an auto ship with that company and buy anywhere from maybe $100 to $250 worth of their products if you want to get paid as a business builder. Well, that's not what this is about, because the reality in those companies is, maybe you're selling a juice from some exotic fruit from the Amazon jungle that nobody's ever heard of, or maybe you're selling some kind of skincare product that's supposed to have the latest, greatest scientific ingredient, or maybe you're selling a skincare product or a shampoo or a vitamin supplement, or whatever the case may be. Well, in all of those situations, what typically happens is you're trying to change the buying habits of the consumers, number one. And number two, you're trying to sell them a product that they can go get down at the local health food store, or maybe Walgreens or some other store close by, that's probably 1/10 or at least 1/3 the cost of the product you're trying to sell them. And so what invariably happens in those situations is your customers, your next door neighbors, your family, they begin to run from you because every time they see you, they know what you want to do. You want to try to sell them a product. And so what happens is, in that situation, and we've seen it happen over and over, and you've got to understand what's happening with the internet today. Adoption cycles are so much faster. It's really killing those models, because I can go to eBay. I can get that juice from that exotic fruit that came from the Amazon jungles nobody's heard of for probably 10 cents on the dollar, because somebody's trying to unload their inventory. And it's really killing these companies. And so what happens is nobody in those companies really wants to sell the product, because it's a painful experience. And so you still get excited about the ability to create this residual income, but the problem is that nobody has any customers. And so you end up making your money off of the pocketbooks of the people that you sponsor into the business. Well, there is no product here. And that's really what makes Doobly so strong, is the fact that we don't have a product. And here's what we do to the customers. Doobly pays the consumer to buy all the same brand name products from the same brand name merchants they've always bought them from in the past. And when they travel, Doobly pays the consumer to fly their favorite airlines, to stay at their favorite hotels, to rent their cars from their favorite car rental agencies, to use their favorite cell phone companies. We even pay them to get their insurance from their favorite insurance companies. In other words, what Doobly's doing is, we are not changing the buying habits of the consumers at all. And that right there is the real strength of Doobly. Now, I want to show you how simple it is for the consumers to understand exactly what we're offering to them. So let's go out to the internet real quick. All right, here I am. All right, I'll go ahead and do this. I did ladies' dresses. Let's go ahead and do toy helicopter. All right, there's toy helicopter. So I'll put in toy helicopter. All right, well, you can see, here's the toy helicopter. And here's Target.com. There's the Doobly app right there. And if I hover over this, it'll drop down, and I can see that if I'm a free customer, I'm going to get 1.3% cash back. If I'm a premium, I'll get the 5.3. If I'm a VIP, I'll get the 7.3. Well, let's just go ahead and make this faster. I'll go ahead and go to the store. So I went from the search results from the Google search that I did. I went to Target, and I didn't realize it. I'm sitting at Target. I meant to go to Hobbytron, but it doesn't really matter. Here I am, and you can see the app. So it's dropped down, and it's going to tell me, Alan, if you're a free customer, 1.3%. If you're a premium, 5.3%. And if you're a VIP, you're going to get the 6.3% cash back. So what do I need to do? Because here I am. I'm going to get any deal that they offer to any customer that doesn't know anything about Doobly once I get here. So what do? Well, the only thing I've got to do different is just click on this little blue button that says Activate Cashback. So if I click on that button, it's going to take about 2 seconds, and it'll come back, and it'll tell me that the cashback is now active. Now it's going to disappear. And now I just go in and I shop, just like I was going to anyway. In any specials, any discounts, any clearance sales they have in here, I'll get those just like anybody else. But because I'm a VIP customer, I'm going to get an additional 7.3% cash back on what I was going to buy anyway. Now let's say, for example, that you want to go to Lowe's.com and buy some lumber or buy some plants for your garden. So I go directly to Lowe's.com. There's Lowe's. I type it in, I go to Lowe's, I get to Lowe's, and boom, there's the app. It's following me wherever I go. No matter what device I'm using, I can use a touchpad, I can use a laptop, I can use my desktop, which I'm using right now. Now, the app for the smartphone is not ready. We are making sure that it is 100% ready before we bring it out, and it's probably not going to get here before Christmas. I actually don't think we're going to get it until the January of 2015, and that's fine with me. I don't want it out until it's really working. But here's the deal. Here I am. I'm sitting at Lowe's, and they've got 10% to 30% off all the major appliances, as long as you're spending $399 or more. Well, I'm going to get that deal. I can use the Lowe's credit card. I'll get 5% off on everything that I buy in Lowe's in addition to this. But because I'm a VIP customer in Doobly, I'm also going to get the 8% cash back on top of the 5%, on top of the 10 to 30% off. And again, the only thing I've got to do is just click on Activate Cashback. Well, what if you want to go to Macy's? Well, you could go to Macy's directly. There's Macy's.com. Go to Macy's. I get to Macy's. Boom, there's the app. I can go to Walmart, for crying out loud. And I don't care whether you hate Walmart or you love Walmart. Everything in the site is part of this, and now all of a sudden the app's not dropping down properly. I don't know what happened there, but you know, this is one of our little technology glitches here. But the bottom line is I can go into Walmart and I can get cash back on anything that I want. There's nothing in the store except for the cash cards that they sell that's off limits. I can even go to Sam's Club. If I'm a Sam's Club member, you know, I can get great prices. It competes with Costco. But here it is. There's the app. It drops down. It tells me, hey, you're going to get all the great pricing that you would normally get as a Sam's Club member, but because you're a Doobly VIP customer, you're going to get an extra 7% cash back in addition to that. And again, all I've got to do is click the Activate Cashback button. Well, let's do this. Let's go back into the slides, because the thing I want to make sure that everybody understands is how simple it is for the consumers. The consumers don't have to, you know, they don't have to go through any acrobats or any calculations to try to figure out how much cash back do I get, what all is this effective on, or what in the store is going to be included in this. Because, you know, you can go to some of these stores, some of these companies that have cashback programs, and what will happen is they're going to give you, let me get back through this already. I'm sorry, y'all bear with me here. They're going to give you a discount on maybe 35 or 40% of the items in the store. Like I'm familiar with some company, and I'm not going to say their name, but if you go to Best Buy, 85% of the items in the store are off limits to the cash back that they offer. Well, at Doobly, if you go to Best Buy or you go to Apple, I don't care, 100% of the items in that store are in the program. You're going to get whatever the discount is for whatever type of customer you happen to be. Here's the result of what we've done with this app. And this is really, to me, this is astonishing. This is almost phenomenal, and let me tell you why. We have now become the #1 company in the world in terms of the dollar of volume being spent at the following merchants: Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, Priceline, Travelocity in Europe, and we're number 2 with Target here in the U.S. Now, why is this so phenomenal? Well, we've done it without any marketing department at all. So the customers that we send every quarter to Walmart, they're spending more money than any other customers that are being sent to Walmart with any affiliate program, and that's basically what this is, guys, of any company anywhere in the world. Same thing's happening with Home Depot, Best Buy, Priceline, Travelocity, and Target. Well, because of this, Wall Street has come knocking on our door. Well, how did Wall Street know about it? Well, they see the quarterly reports from Home Depot, from Walmart, from Target, from Best Buy, from Priceline, from Travelocity. They see the numbers. And when they saw that we were the number 1 company with just about every single one of them, they came knocking on the door. They saw what we were doing. They realized immediately that we didn't even have a marketing department. So what did they do? They started throwing money at us. Now, they are about to put a ton of money into Doobly, and I can't tell you how much because I'd get in trouble with the company. They'd really get upset with me because I guess to some degree that would be considered maybe insider trading. But let me do this. Let me try to give you an idea of what's happened here because this is very significant to all of us. Most of us are familiar with a company called Uber. You know, Uber is nothing more than really a taxi cab service, and they allow people to use their own cars to kind of give people rides, and their product is they give a person a ride from point A to point B. And they've got some cities, some company, you know, these yellow cab companies, they're not happy about this. They're not just, their lobbyists are working to try to block this. But the bottom line is Uber just got $1.2 billion in funding from Fidelity Investments. They just received an $18.2 billion valuation on June the 6th, 2014. This is a risky business. And this is a very limited product because you're just giving people a ride from point A to point B. Well, one of the biggest investment firms on Wall Street that came knocking on the door came in and did an evaluation on Doobly. And all I can tell you is it's somewhere between $5 billion and $20 billion. I cannot tell you what the exact number is. I would actually, the company might terminate me. It is phenomenal. Now, because they came to us, they went out and found 4 people because we didn't have a marketing department. And yet, look what we achieved with Walmart and Target and Home Depot. We didn't have a marketing department. They went out and found 4 candidates to come in and head up a brand new marketing department at Doobly. We sat down and I shouldn't say we did, the company did, and they decided to hire Krista Paul. But, if they just hired Krista Paul, I'd be excited about it, but, she's only one person. She's not Superwoman. Well, she didn't just hire, or they didn't just hire Krista Paul. They actually brought in 29 people, or I should say Krista Paul brought her staff, 29 people. Now, you can go, and I would encourage you to do so. Go to linkedin.com/in/Krista Paul, and you can see how to spell her name. Read up on her. See what she's done. Look at this right here. It says, Krista Paul, the founder of usingmiles.com, was recently announced as one of Colorado's top 5 most influential young professionals for 2011. She was selected as one of the 5 top finalists to grace the cover of Colorado Business Magazine out of 25 top professionals that were recognized in the October issue. The best thing I can say about her, and I hate to use this phrase with her, but in terms of marketing online, she is an absolute stud. She knows what she's doing, and I'm really excited that her department is here because I can't wait to see what we do now that she's here. Now, if we look at the customer cashback, remember, you can be a free customer, and that's just what it means. You don't have to give up any information. All you do is put in an email address, create a password, and you start getting cash back on everything that you were already doing. Now, just so you understand the significance of the offering that Doobly has for the consumer, even the free consumers, we have well over 4,000 merchants in the mall, which represent well over 65 million products. So I don't care what brand name you're looking for, you're going to be able to find it in the mall. You can get your cell phones in here. You can get your insurance, your investments. There are so many things that are available to even the free customers that they're just going to get cash back on everything they were going to do anyway. Now, you can also be a premium customer. Now, what happens here? You pay $4.95 a month. Well, what do you get for that? Well, as a premium customer, you're going to get the free cash back, the same free cash back that the free customer gets. But because you're paying that $4.95 a month, Doobly will pay you an additional 4% cash back on top of the free cash back, or in addition to the free cash back. Now, The membership that really by far and away is the most valuable membership to the consumer is the VIP customer. They're going to pay $99 per year, and they're going to get the same free cash back that the free customer gets, but they're also going to get an extra 6% in addition to this. Well, let's go back through this real quick. Let's take a couple examples. Here's Macy's, here's Joseph A. Bank, and here's Match.com. Now remember, all the merchants, the free cash back varies from merchant to merchant. At Macy's, it's 1.9%. At Joseph A. Bank, it's 6.5%. At Match.com, it's 75%. That's a lot of free cash back. I mean, think about this. Let's say you're looking for a new husband or a new wife. You can get cash back on them. You can get a lot of cash back on them. I think at PerfectMatch.com, it's actually 80% cash back to a free customer. But here's what happens. If they want to be a premium customer, now let's take the example with Joseph A. Bank. The free cash back is 6.5%. So the premium customer is going to get the 6.5%, but they're also going to get this extra 4%. But here's the only caveat that the premium customer needs to recognize. They're going to pay $4.95 a month to be a premium customer. They'll get this extra 4% cash back in addition to whatever the free cash back is at all 4,000 merchants. The only problem is they don't get access to that 4% until the end of 12 months. They have to be a customer for 12 months before they can have access to it. They'll see it and they'll get the 4% on every single purchase, but they just don't get access to it till the end of the year. Well, if they're a VIP customer, they're going to get the free cash back, and of course, in the case of Joseph A. Bank, that's another 6.5%, or that is 6.5%. They're going to get the additional 6%, but here's the difference. That 6% is paid on a monthly basis, just like the free cash back is. Now, of course, we have to use our common sense here. There's not a merchant around that is going to allow you to have access to this free cash back or the VIP cash back until the return policy has expired. So once that's expired, and it can be anywhere from 30 to 60 days, depends on the particular merchant, then it'll be sent to Doobly, and then it'll be sent to the customer. But this extra 6%, because it's paid on a monthly basis just like the free cash back, here's what the consumer can do. They can take the 6% plus the free. They can put it on their free MasterCard debit card, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes. They can put it on that debit card, and they can go use that free money to buy another item. Maybe they want to go to Walmart. Maybe they want to go to Apple. But here's the deal. They're going to use the free money, which is comprised of the 6% plus the free cash back, whatever it is. They're going to use that free money to pay for that item, whether it's a luxury purchase or a necessity purchase, I don't care. But they're going to get cash back on top of the fact that they're using the money from the merchants to make that purchase. The customers can double dip in here. Now, this is pretty exciting to the consumers, and let me give you a better idea how this looks to the consumer now. Here's a VIP customer of mine, a good friend of mine named Doug Hall, I'm sorry. He lives out in Palm Springs, and it's just him and his wife, Judy. Now, you can look at the dates here, May the 4th through May the 11th. That's 1 week. That's a snapshot in the week, or the snapshot in the life of Doug and Judy Hall. Now, this week, here's what happened. Doug went to Best Buy. He had to get some cords for his computer. He ordered some flowers for his mother-in-law and his granddaughter. They went to 1-800-Flowers like they always do. They were doing a renovation on their house. They went to Home Depot, which was right around the corner, like they always do. He had to take a trip that week. He went through Priceline, like he always does. Well, because Doug's a VIP customer, remember, he's going to get the free cash back plus the extra 6%. So here's his free cash back right here, $35.39. Let's say that Doug didn't know anything about Doobly at all. Where would that $35.39 be? It would be sitting in the bank accounts of Best Buy, 1-800-Flowers, Home Depot, and Priceline. But because he is a VIP customer, he's going to get this free cash back, plus he's going to get the extra 6% cash back. You put these two together, and in 1 week, Doug got back $86.19. Now, what does it cost Doug to be a VIP customer for a year? It cost him $99. So in 1 week, Doug almost made his membership back. Now look at this. What if Doug and Judy did this same level of spending every single week for the whole year? Look at the cash back they get. $4,481.88. Now, I don't want to suggest that Doug will. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Doug doesn't do this level of spending every single week. It just so happened this week that's what he did. Because this is the high end of what we're seeing is the average VIP customer today with Doobly that has 2 kids, they're getting anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 cash back, not $4,400. So this is way up on the upper end of this. But let me ask you a question, and I want you to think about this. If Doug's VIP membership only cost him $99 a year, if he only got back $2,400, would it still be worth it to Doug to do it? Absolutely. I mean, Doug can see all the purchases he's made. He can see exactly what he paid for them. He can see the cash back, the free cash back, and the 6%. It would absolutely be worth it to him. What if Doug only got back $1,400 cash back for the whole year? It would still be worth it to Doug. I mean, imagine putting $99 in your savings account. What if at the end of the year you could have $1,500 in that savings account? I guarantee you, if a bank would offer that, everybody in the country would open a savings account in that bank, because you can't do that. Well, once the money is available to Doug, you know, the return policy has expired at particular merchants. Here's what happens. He can take this money. He has three options. He can either wire it directly to his bank, and it's going to cost him $2 to do that, or if he chooses to, or if he prefers, he can send it directly to his PayPal account. Or if he prefers, he can put it on his free MasterCard debit card. Now, I want you to think about something. This debit card is unlike any debit card you've ever seen. And here's why. You don't put money on this debit card. Well, if you don't put money on it, who does? It's the merchants, for doing exactly what you were going to do anyway. That's the beauty of this. Now, think about this. Let's say I've got $2,000 sitting on this card, or $1,000, whatever the case may be, and I want to go to a merchant, and I'm going to spend $1,000 on a swing set for my kids. Let's say we're going to go to Walmart. Well, I could go to Walmart through Doobly. I'm going to go buy it online, and I can go pick it up at the store if I want to, or let them deliver it, whatever I want to do. But here's what happens. If I've got a Discover card, and let's say we're in the holiday season, what does Discover do every year? They always pay you 5% cash back on your purchases. Well, you can go to Walmart through Doobly. You can buy that swing set, and let's say it costs $1,000. You're going to get 7% cash back from Walmart because you're a Doobly VIP customer. You're also going to get 5% cash back because you're going to use your Discover card. Now you're getting 12% cash back on whatever you're going to buy at Walmart. But here's the real kicker. When that bill comes due on that Discover card for that $1,000 swing set that you just bought, you use this debit card, because after all, it is a debit card, and you can pay off that Discover card with the free money, the free $1,000 that the merchants paid you. Now you're triple dipping in the mall. Now you better believe that once consumers figure that out, they're going to start telling everybody about it. I mean, it's not going to be a secret very long. So the key to the customer acquisition model that we have is very simple. Just remember what's happening to the consumers. They're getting paid to buy all the same brand name products that they're buying today. They get paid to travel with their, they can fly their favorite airlines, stay at their favorite hotels. They're going to get paid cash back on some of their entertainment. If they live in a state where electricity's been deregulated, they're going to get cash back on electricity. They can get cash back on their Sprint service, their T-Mobile service, their AT&T service. Doesn't matter. They can even get cash back on their insurance through State Farm or Allstate, whatever they're already doing. But this is the real key to all of this. This is what makes this work so well, is the fact that we are not asking the consumers to change their buying habits. Now, this is a development that I'm so excited about, and you talk about a paradigm shift, a game changer for us as BAs, business associates. Let me tell you what's going to happen here. As soon as the app for the smartphone is available, we're not just going to be working with e-commerce. We're also going to be working with the brick and mortar stores, because here's what's going to happen. Let's say that you've got a customer, and it's your customer, and they're in the Target store, and they've got the smart app down on their smartphone. They've got the app on their smartphone, and let's say they pick up a package and put it in their cart. And so they've finished all their shopping. They're going to go up to the cashier and pay for it. Well, there's going to be an NFC chip, a near-field communication chip in the package. Well, that NFC chip is going to communicate with the app in the phone. And if this individual has their GPS on in their phone, which most people do, they don't know how to turn it off, it's going to contact Doobly. And it's going to tell Doobly exactly where that customer is, and it's going to tell them that they're inside the Target store. It's going to tell them which product they just purchased, so that by the time that customer gets up to the cashier to pay for it, they're going to get an instant coupon, an instant gift card, or some instant cash back. In other words, that customer, because they happen to be a VIP customer at Doobly, or maybe even just a free customer at Doobly, they're going to get a better price on that product inside the brick and mortar store than anybody else, unless somebody else in that store also happens to be a Doobly customer. Now, it's not just going to happen at Target. It's going to happen at Home Depot. You know, I bought about $400 worth of lumber the other day, or last week, I should say, from Home Depot because I had to do something around the house here. I got $38 cash back on that lumber. Now, had I not been a customer at Doobly, had I not paid for it through my Doobly account before I went and picked it up, I would have left that $38 sitting on the table. But think about this. Think about the Apple Store. What's about to happen with Apple? They're going to announce their iPhone 6. Today, Samsung announced their new Samsung Galaxy Note 4, their Samsung Galaxy Note Edge, and I forget what their watch is called, but they announced all this today. Imagine this scenario. One of your children has graduated from high school and they're about to go away to college. And you go to the Apple Store because they either need a MacBook Air or they want a MacBook Pro, and they don't know which one they want, so they go to the Apple Store. And here in Atlanta, we've got Lenox Square, and inside the Lenox Square Mall is an Apple Store. And you can go in there, and the salespeople will sit down with you. They'll explain everything. They'll show you all the security features. They'll show you all the software that comes with it, whether it's a MacBook Air or whether it's a MacBook Pro. They'll tell you whether or not it's going to be adequate for what you need at college, et cetera, et cetera. And so you get there, and your daughter or your son looks and said, "Yeah, Dad, I want this one. This is great." Let's say it costs $2,000. I don't care what the price is. Well, with this scenario, what you can do is you can pull out your smartphone, and y'all can walk out of the store, and the salesperson's going to look at you like, "Well, I thought y'all wanted this." But you're going down to the store, and you're going to go down to the food court, and you're going to get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You're going to pay for that MacBook Air that your daughter just decided she wanted on your smartphone. You're going to get 7% cash back on that MacBook Air. And in about 10 minutes, you'll get an email from Apple saying that your MacBook Air is ready to pick up because you told them which store you wanted to pick it up at. You paid for it, and you used that Discover card to get the additional 5% cash back when you paid for it. And so you walk back upstairs, you go back to the back of the office. There's the same salesperson. They're looking at you like, "Oh, yeah, we just paid for it." "What do you mean? You were just in the store." "Yeah, well, we bought it online." "Well, why'd you do that?" "Because I got 12% cash back." And I guarantee you if that happens, the salesperson's going to look at you like, "Wait a minute, we don't give 12% cash back." But at Doobly, you can do that 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And they're going to hand you the MacBook Air, and you're going to go home. You just got 12% off the strongest brand in the world. Apple doesn't give discounts to anybody. And I promise you, when this starts happening, when the consumers realize they can do this, they're going to start talking about it at Thanksgiving. They're going to start talking about it at the Christmas parties. They're going to start talking about it at the soccer field or the basketball court when they're, sitting with other parents. It will begin to spread like wildfire. Now, nobody knows about Doobly right now, but that's all about to change. And I want to show you a couple slides, and the reason I'm going to show you these slides is because they really dramatize the incredible sea change that's happened today with e-commerce. Now, this is from 2005. This is Pope John Paul's funeral, and this is in front of the Basilica over in Rome, Italy. And you can see, if you look in the crowd, here's a smartphone down here, right here in the bottom right-hand corner. This girl over here in the left-hand corner, she's got one. You can see she's looking at her screen. This is in the early days of the smartphone. And this guy right here has a smartphone because you can see the glow on his face right there. But, you don't see anything else in there. Now, let me show you this next slide. Look at the difference. We're in the same location, but it's 8 years later. This is the election of Pope Francis. Look at the crowd. Everybody in that crowd either has a smartphone or a tablet, and they're videotaping this in real time, and they're putting it up on a blog, or they're emailing it to their friends, or whatever the case may be. Now, I want you to think about something. I used to tell people all the time that the perfect business was to be Visa or MasterCard, because you give your credit card to somebody, as long as they're credit worthy, and you get a transaction fee off of everything they buy. Now, you do have to compete with American Express. You do have to compete with MasterCard. You do have to compete with Diners Club and Discover Card. But you basically can get a piece of everything they do, and you don't care what they buy. You don't care where they buy it. You just want them to use your card versus American Express or some of the other cards. Well, that's not the perfect business. The perfect business is Doobly. And I want you to think about this for just a minute. Would you rather give, let's say that all of these people in this slide right here, everybody with a lighted phone or tablet, whatever they got, what if they were a customer and you had the ability to either give them a Visa card or you could make them a VIP customer at Doobly, what would you rather have? Well, in my mind, there's no question. I would much rather them be a VIP customer with me at Doobly. And here's why. I don't care whether they use an American Express. I don't care whether they use a Visa. I don't care whether they use a MasterCard. I don't care whether they use a Diners Club or a Discover card. It doesn't matter to me. All I want them to do is do everything that they're already doing right now today, and I'm going to get a 25% commission on everything they do. Now, guys, that is absolutely the perfect business model for anyone, and let me show you why. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom and all you want to do is earn maybe $400 or $500 a month extra. Look how simple this is for her. What does she need to do? Well, she's going to need to become a Doobly BA. She can come in with what we call a team member package. It's $495, and that's how she starts her business. There is a $99 one-time business license. She never has to pay it again, and then she's going to do something very simple. She's going to become a Doobly VIP customer over at Doobly.com. And then she's going to download the app. She's going to start getting cash back on everything. Even if she wants to get diapers for her baby, she's going to get cash back on it. If she wants to buy groceries for the family, she's going to get cash back on it. If she wants to buy new shoes, new dress, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. She can do it through Doobly with the same merchant she's always shopped at and whatnot, and she's going to get cash back on everything. And then all she needs to do is she starts building up the cash back in her cash organizer. What does she do? She just invites her girlfriends over, and they're sitting around the kitchen aisle, and they're sitting at the breakfast room table, or maybe she meets them at Starbucks, and they're sitting there talking about how the kids are, what's going on with everybody in their life, are their husbands, being good husbands, whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden she's going to say, "Oh, girls, I forgot to tell you about this. You won't believe this. I found the coolest site. You've got to see it." And she opens up her desktop. She wouldn't have her desktop. She opens up her laptop or her touchpad, and she goes to Doobly.com. She's not trying to sell anything. She goes to Doobly.com. She logs into her account. She goes to her back office. And just like Doug Hall, I showed you, where you can see everything he was buying. And she says, "Look, I got cash back on everything I'm doing." And I guarantee you her girlfriends are going to look at her and say, "Well, how do we do this?" "Oh, well, here, let me send you a link. Oh, by the way, if you send a link to one of your girlfriends and they sign up as a VIP customer, Doobly's going to pay you $20 in cash for a referral fee." And they're going to sign up. And, her trouble is not going to be making $500 a month. Her trouble will be not making a lot more than that because this is so appealing to the consumer. Now, I don't care. Maybe you own your own business and you just don't have time. Maybe you're a doctor, a lawyer, dentist, or you own a construction business, whatever the case may be, but you just don't have time to fully engage in this. There is a method where you can participate in this in a very aggressive way, even on a passive manner, and greatly enhance your income to the point where maybe 1, 2, 3 years down the road, you can decide whether you want to sell your business or not and engage full-time with Doobly. Or maybe you're one of those really serious entrepreneurs and you just attract money like a magnet. And you're just not going to look at anything unless you're absolutely certain that it's going to offer you the ability to make at least 6 figures a month. Well, if that's who you are, this is absolutely the perfect business for you. Because this is all about a numbers game. This is about getting as many customers as you possibly can. And there are ways to do this so that you don't have to do it by yourself. But like stay-at-home mom, if she wants to come in and just collect customers, she doesn't ever want to show the business to anybody, it's perfect for her. Now let's look at the other end of the spectrum here. Think about today's nonprofit. What's happening? The economy has killed them. They're all sucking for funds. They need it bad. They're really in having a lot of trouble collecting money. Now they're starting to come back up a little bit, but they've been through some pretty rough times. Well, I can tell you this is a paradigm shift for them because raising money has never been easier for the fundraiser. Think about what happened. We're literally going to pay their donors to support their causes. And I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But if you get this, if you really understand that this is all about customer acquisition, then you want to build a balanced business. If you want to maximize your income. Now, if you want to come in and you just want to collect customers, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. So the first pillar of this is to go out and get as many personal customers as you can. Now, you don't sell anything because we don't have a product. You just show people how much cash back you're getting for going to Apple, for going to Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Nordstrom's. I don't care who it is. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is you want to go through what we call the rank advancement. And I'll show you that real quickly tonight. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but this is one of the things that you need to do if you want to maximize your income. Now, the third pillar is sponsoring the nonprofits. Now, guys, this is like anything else. For example, let's say that you've got an engine, and it's got 6 cylinders, and 5 of those cylinders are working at 100% efficiency. Well, until you get that 6th cylinder working, you're never going to get 100% of the horsepower that's inherent in that motor. Well, this is the same thing here. If you just want to come in, now here's what I love about this business model as well, and this is really important that you understand this. Let's say that I am that stay-at-home mom, but I'm really crafty. I'm really good at getting customers. Maybe I've got a blog, or I've got a lot of people following me on my Twitter account, whatever the case may be. That team member, if you will, that's the lowest rank you can join Doobly, and she has no desire to sponsor anybody into the business. She has the potential, and I think we will see hundreds of people come in and do just that. She has the potential to make more money than 70% of the people at the very top rank, which is called a senior vice president. Why? Because she's going to earn a 25% commission on all of her customers. Most people that come into this business that want to get to that senior vice president rank, that's all they care about is I want to be at the top rank. I want to brag to everybody that I'm a senior vice president. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But they're not going to go out and get customers. This is all about customer acquisition, because if you build out a network of, let's say 2,000 people, and nobody goes and gets customers, well, once you finish building it, there's no money, because the back end is all about the customer acquisition model. It's all about the income that's being generated from those customers. And, of course, the higher your rank, the more money you're going to make on the customers of the nonprofits that you sponsor. This is a phenomenal business. Now, how do we get paid on our personal customers? Now, we showed you how they get paid, but how do we get paid on them? Now, remember, there's 3 types of customers, and we don't care whether they're a free, premium, or VIP. And if I go back to those same examples, Macy's, Joseph A. Bank, and Match.com, let's go back to the premium customer. But remember, the free cashback varies from merchant to merchant. We don't have any control over that. Well, if I'm going to be a premium customer, I'm going to get the free cashback. I'm going to get this extra 4% cashback. Well, what do I get paid on in that scenario right there? If this is my customer, if it's my personal customer, I'm going to get a 25% commission on them. But I am not going to get paid on that 4%. Because Doobly is trying to give more cash back to the consumer as much as humanly possible so that we never lose them. I would much rather keep this customer forever than, just be greedy about it, and that's what Doobly's doing. We're paying more cash back to the customers than anybody. So we get paid on the free cash back, but not on the extra membership cash back is what we call it. What about the VIP? Same thing happens. We get paid on the free cash back, but not the 6%. So here's the bottom line. We're getting a 25% commission on all the free cash back, no matter what it is, of every single purchase they make. So we're going to make good money on the free customer. We're going to make good money on the premium and the VIP. But if they happen to be a premium customer, we're going to earn a 25% commission every month on their membership fee, which is to us will be $1.23 per month because they're paying $4.95 a month. If they happen to be a VIP customer, we're going to earn a 25% commission once a year on their $99, which is $24.75. Now, this is where this starts to get really exciting, and I want you to pay attention to this. Let's say that this VIP customer right here, let's say it's my sister. Now, my sister, she wouldn't want anything to do with the business. She doesn't have any entrepreneurial blood in her veins whatsoever. Well, let's say that she's a VIP customer. This is pretty cool. She tells her next-door neighbor. Well, if Bonnie tells her next-door neighbor, and that next-door neighbor becomes a VIP customer, Doobly's going to pay Bonnie, who has nothing to do with the business, doesn't know anything about it, doesn't want to know about it, they're going to pay $20 as a way of saying, thank you for sending this customer, your next-door neighbor. If this next-door neighbor refers another customer, who refers another customer, who refers another customer, I mean, this can go on indefinitely. It could go out, 100 generations. It could go out 100,000 generations. And here's what happens to you. Every one of those 100,000 customers that referred another customer, they're each going to get a $20 referral fee from Doobly. But all 100,000 of those customers, they become your personal customers, which means you're going to get a 25% commission on all the free cash back on everything that they're going to do anyway, Plus, you're going to get a 25% commission on their VIP membership. You're going to make a fortune just on your personal customers. We know that the viral growth will kick in. We don't know how big it will be and how fast it will go. That's the exciting part. This is the holy grail right here. This is what we want. We want to build it one time, and whatever level we get to, and we just say, you know what, we're done. We're going to the mountains. We're going to the beach. We're going to travel. Whatever the case may be, we want to be able to walk away from this business and not worry that our income is going to start to drop immediately because we're not in there, putting in more BAs. Well, this is not about BAs. This is about customer acquisition. And remember what we did at Walmart, at Home Depot, Best Buy, Priceline, Travelocity, even Target. We did all of this without a marketing department at all. Nobody knows who we are. We don't have any customers to speak of. I mean, really, we haven't even scratched the surface here in the U.S. Now, here's the second pillar. This is the rank advancement. Now, most people, and let's say like this stay-at-home mom, she starts out with a team member package. This is the lowest or the least expensive package you can buy to start your business with Doobly. It's a $495 package. Now, if you come in as a team member, that means that you're eligible to earn a 5% commission on anybody that you personally sponsor into the business on their $495 package plus their VIP membership of $99 per year. You'd get a 5% commission on it. Now, the next rank that you want to go to, because remember, we're trying to maximize our income potential here, you're going to go to that rank of a team leader. Now, how do I get to a team leader? Well, if I start as a team member right here, I've got to sponsor 3 team members on my front line. Once I do that, then I become a team leader. And as a team leader, I'll earn a 10% commission on anybody I personally sponsor. So in this case, once I became the team leader, if I sponsor a 4th person over here on my front line, instead of making 5% commission on their team member package and their VIP membership, I'll earn a 10% commission. Now, the next rank is that of a team coordinator. Well, how do I get to team coordinator? Well, we're going to help these 3 people. And it's important that you understand something. You're not going to do this yourself. We're going to help you every step of the way because it's in our best interest to do this. We don't get paid unless you're successful. So we're going to help each one of these people duplicate what you just did. They're going to find 3 each. That's all we're doing. Once that happens, you become a team coordinator. As a team coordinator, you're going to earn a 15% commission on anybody that you personally sponsor. So once again, if you come over here, once you become a team coordinator and you sponsor a 4th person on your front line, you're going to earn 15% on them. In other words, 3 times as much as you did as a team member. Okay? Now, the next rank is that of a sales director. Well, how do we get to sales director? Well, once again, let's help these people down here, all 9 of them. We're going to help them find 3 each, just like you did, just like these team members on your front line did who are now team coordinators. And you're going to become a sales director. So all these 3 people on your front line must be a team coordinator in order for you to make it to a sales director. Okay? But you'll notice we've only got 3 active legs. Now, as a sales director, you're going to earn up to 20% commission on anybody that you personally sponsor. Now, here's something else that you need to keep in mind. In order to sponsor a nonprofit, which is the 3rd pillar, now bear with me, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. In order to sponsor a nonprofit, the least rank that you can have is you must come in with a team leader accelerated package. You can't come in as a team member and get to team leader and sponsor a nonprofit. If you come in as a team member, you've got to get to the rank of a team coordinator before you're even eligible to pay for the certification test, and it's basically $1,000. And then you can start sponsoring nonprofits. But if you start as a TLA, you can sponsor nonprofits immediately. And what's going to happen is you can earn a 10% override on all the customers that are generated from the database of that nonprofit. Well, here's the point I'm trying to get at. And this is clear evidence of why you want to advance your rank. So as a team leader, I can make 10% on the customers of that nonprofit, whether it be a high school or the Red Cross or whatever, doesn't matter. If I'm a sales director, I'm going to make a 20% override on all the customers of that nonprofit. I've just doubled my income. I did the same amount of work, but because I advanced my rank, I'm going to double my income. Now, that's something you have to do. Now, the next rank is that of a VP. Now, I'm a sales director. I'm hoping to get to VP by the end of September, but I don't care whether I get there in October. It doesn't matter because to me, title means nothing. Show me the money. What was the name of that movie Tom Cruise was in? Something McGuire. Anyway, it's just, but in order to get to VP, here's where things change. Now, going from team member to sales director, you'll notice I only had to have 3 active legs. Okay? Well, in order to get to VP, I've got to have 5 active legs. I have to have a sales director anywhere in the depths of each one of those 5 legs. And if I do that, in other words, they don't have to be on my front line. They don't have to be personally sponsored by me. For example, let's say that in this leg right here, I had a sales director right here on the 3rd level. And let's say in this leg right here, I've got a sales director on my 5th level. Well, there's 2 of them that I need right there. And then this 3rd one, let's say I have a sales director on my 10th level. Well, there's one of the sales directors that I need. And you've got to have 2 more active legs over here, which we don't see because I hadn't shown them. But in those 2 legs, the 4th and the 5th leg, let's say that you've got a sales director on the 100th level in both of those 2 legs. Well, there's the 5 sales directors that you need in order to get you to VP. And, of course, as a VP, you're going to earn a 25% commission on anybody that you personally sponsor. You're going to earn a 25% override on the customers that are generated by the database from that nonprofit. You're also going to earn a 25% override on all the viral growth that happens from the customers from the database of that nonprofit. Now, the next rank is the top rank. This is a senior VP. Now, to get to senior VP, you're just going to help those 5 sales directors get to the rank of VP, and you're done. But understand this, there are only 2 senior vice presidents in the world. One of them is Dean Manheimer here in the U.S., and the other one is Thomas Schmidt, who lives in Dubai. He's originally from Germany, but he moved to Dubai. And those are the only 2. We just had a new vice president break here in the U.S., and I believe in his first month in the business, he made right around $75,000, which isn't bad. Now, understand something. He's a big-time network marketer. He made his money on building the network. They don't have any customers yet. They're not even talking to customers. They're building their network, and, you know, nothing wrong with that. But you got to realize something. If that's all you focus on, once you've built out the network and you don't have any other people to go to, you're done. If you don't have customers, there is no back-end income. That's why the holy grail of this is the customer. You've got to go out and get customers. You've got to sponsor nonprofits. Well, those guys don't have time to sponsor nonprofits. And you know what? More power to them. There's nothing wrong with that. But as a VP, senior VP, you're going to earn a 27.5% override on the customers generated by the nonprofits that you sponsor, and you're going to earn a 27.5% commission on the package of anybody that you sponsor into the business. Now, one other thing that I want to point out here before I move on, and this is really unique to Doobly. Let's say that you get to the rank of a vice president or a senior vice president. It doesn't matter. There's 2 things I'm going to point out. And the first thing I want to point out, and this really says everything about this business model, and again, I go back to the housewife, the stay-at-home mom. If all she wants to do is bring in customers, but she's really good at it, maybe she's been an affiliate marketer in the past, I don't care what the situation is, if she's really good at it, she's going to make more money than 70% of the senior vice presidents. Now, when have you ever seen a business model that allows just the potential for the person on the bottom of the totem pole to even come close to making more money or as much money as the person on the top of the totem pole? Now, I've never seen it before, but that says volumes about this business model because it's all about customer acquisition. Okay? Now, the second thing I want to point out is, let's say that you make it to the rank of VP or senior VP or sales director. I don't care which one. You pick out a rank, and let's say that all these people in the organization that, well, you know what, we'll use sales director because that's what this represents. So you get to the rank of a sales director, and I don't care whether it takes you a week or 2 years. It doesn't matter. Once you get to that rank of sales director, let's say that for some unknown reason, this is 39 people down here, by the way. Let's say that these 39 people all of a sudden just disappeared. They were swallowed up by the earth. You know, like, whatever the case may be. You will never lose your rank of a sales director. All you have to do is just remain active. You'll always maintain that rank. Your income will not be affected in the least because you're not making your money from these guys. You made your money when you built the organization. You made your money when you sponsored them, okay? But your money now is coming from the back end, from the customers. Now think about it. How stable is that income going to be? It's going to be phenomenally stable because you have to recognize something. And I'm assuming that all these people down here are just like us. They want to maximize their income potential, so they're going out there and they're going to start sponsoring nonprofits. Well, 99% of the customers in your organization, they don't even know that you exist, and they don't care. They're not here for you. They're here because Doobly offers them the ability to increase the purchasing power of every single dollar that they have. That's it in a nutshell. Now here's the third pillar, the partner program. What is the partner program really all about to the nonprofits? And understand this, with the partner program, a nonprofit, whether it be a little bitty church or the Red Cross or whatever, it doesn't matter. They get this for free. They don't have to pay a penny for any of it. If it happens to be a for-profit company like a bank, for example, they can do the partner program, which means they're going to get a co-branded site, and they can send out 30 free 30-day VIP trial vouchers to all of their bank customers, or anytime somebody opens up a savings account or a checking account, they can give them a VIP membership, which the bank pays for, because what's happening to the bank? They're going to create an entirely new revenue stream outside of their banking exercises. If it's a car dealer, they could give, every person that bought a car from the dealership, they should give them a VIP membership, because they're going to create a revenue stream that has nothing to do with their cars. And they're going to get paid they would get paid a 30% commission on everything that those customers do. But they're going to have to pay for it. And it would cost them $7,000 to buy the partner program. And there's a $500 per month maintenance fee on this, but the nonprofits don't have to pay anything. This is the sweet spot for Doobly right now. You don't want to mess with the for-profit companies just yet. It's not time. Well, what are we doing with the partner program for the nonprofits? Well, basically what we're doing is we're helping these nonprofits monetize their database in ways they've never been able to do before. Because think about what's happened in the past with a nonprofit. What do? Let's take a local high school, for example. They come to you and they say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, how about buying this magazine subscription, or buy some of this expensive gift wrapping paper, or how about buying some cookie dough? We know you don't really want it. We know you don't want to do it, but come on, help the kids. And they feel obligated. They're passionate about supporting the kids, so they do it. But it's costing them money. Well, what's happening here is we're paying the parents. We're literally paying the parents to do good. In other words, we're paying the supporters, the donors of that particular organization, whatever it happens to be. We are literally paying them for supporting the causes that they believe in. That is a huge paradigm shift. You can't beat this. I mean, these nonprofits have never seen anything like this. And let me just give you a clue. I have already done well over 100 presentations to nonprofits. And about 10 of them were for me, but the rest of them were for people in my organization. And I can tell you, I've not had not one of them say no to Doobly. Because they're like, Alan, if we understand this is a no-brainer. Our donors, our supporters, they're going to get paid for supporting us. And I said, that's exactly right. They said, okay, let's go. And that's how simple this is. Now, what I do with the nonprofit, I do the same thing I do with anybody else. I make sure they understand the value that is presented to the consumer, because that's all that matters. Now, we've already got 1,000 nonprofits with Doobly, and this program has been out for right about a year now. Well, now we've got some of the nonprofits over in Europe, some of them are here in the U.S. I don't know what the breakdown is. I mean, are 500 of them here in the U.S. or 500 of them in Europe? I don't really know what the breakdown is. And you know what? It doesn't matter to me. Here's what matters to me. For example, let's say that all 1,000 of the nonprofits are here in the U.S. Do y'all know how many nonprofits exist in the U.S.? Over 3 million. In other words, guys, we haven't even scratched the surface. The market is wide open, and I'm telling you right now from my experience, the United Way, the American Red Cross, the American Cancer Society, that is not the sweet spot for Doobly. It's the little bitty high schools, and let me tell you why. Parents are absolutely passionate about supporting their kids. They're not passionate about supporting the Red Cross, the United Way, or American Cancer Society. I mean, they might feel a civic obligation to do that, and that's great. But when it comes to their kids, they're passionate about it. And we're now going to pay them to do it. That is the most incredible business model I've ever seen in my life. I got very lucky, very fortunate, and I sponsored the American Red Cross. Now, I was working with a guy named Chris Camera, who's on my front line, and Chris and I had a really good relationship with this gal named Lou Esposito. And on a Friday afternoon, we showed it to her. Once I knew that Doobly was really ready to do this, I showed it to her. And I'm telling you, she nearly came through the phone at me, and she said, Alan, You get me the contracts on Monday morning. I've never seen anything like this. I can't imagine any scenario where this doesn't work. We're going to do this. But let me just say this. Now, the American Red Cross has 900 chapters nationwide. If I had 900 chapters at the Red Cross and 900 high schools, and let's say, for example, now this is just a theoretical, fictitious example. Let's say that for some reason the company came to me. They said, Alan, look, you can either have the 900 chapters at the Red Cross or you can have those 900 high schools, but you can't have both. I would, without a minute's hesitation, I would say, well, you take the Red Cross, I'll take the high schools, because that's the sweet spot for Doobly. Now, I also was very fortunate. A good friend of mine named Jerry Thomas, he's a sales director on my front line. We went up to Memorial Hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now, we didn't know this at the time, but they're part of the Catholic Health Initiatives. There's 78 nonprofit hospitals in the Catholic Health Initiatives. Well, Jerry had a real good friend of his named Jean Payne who had worked at the hospital. She worked for Jennifer Nicely. You see her name right here, Jennifer Nicely. And so we explained it to her on the phone. She said, yeah, y'all need to come up here and present this to Jennifer. So we go up there and we present it to him. And about 12 minutes into the presentation, Jennifer just interrupts me. And she says, Alan, everybody's going to want to do this. And I was like, well, Jennifer, I think you're right. I think everybody will. And so Brad Pope, who was the vice president of the Human Resources Department, he was in the room too, and he immediately jumps in and he says, Alan, we want exclusivity in Chattanooga. And I said, well, Brad, look, I can't do that for you. And he said, but Alan, we don't want our competitor hospital doing this. And I said, well, look, I can't give you exclusivity, but here's what I can do. I know you know all the executives over at the other hospital, and that other hospital, by the way, was a for-profit hospital. And he said, oh, yeah, we have lunch together all the time. I said, well, you introduce me to them. And if they decide that they want to do this, then what we'll do is we'll put, and the name of that hospital is Erlanger, we'll put Erlanger under Memorial Hospital. And Memorial will receive a 5% override on everything that Erlanger does. Well, Brad looks at Jennifer, and she looks back at him. They start smiling. They look back at me, and they say, okay, we can live with that. The point I'm trying to get here, guys, this is the typical reaction I'm getting from everybody. Now, we had to do 6 presentations at Memorial Hospital to finally get it all done because, there's all those levels of bureaucracy. And so at the very last presentation we did, we had the CEO of the hospital, we had the chairman of the board of directors in there, we had one of their biggest contributors was there, we had the president of the compliance department, we had Jennifer Nicely, who's the president of the foundation, we had the vice president of the finance department, and we had one of their nuns there. Well, they were all back in the back of the room talking after I'd finished the presentation, and I was putting my equipment up. So when I finished, I went back to the back of the room. Well, the vice president of finance came up to me, and this is really telling, guys. He said, Alan, we've been back here talking about this, and you know we have to turn this over to the lawyers, and you never know what they're going to do. And I said, I understand. He said, but we've all decided, even the CEO agrees with me, we've decided that if for any reason the lawyers come back and tell us we can't do this, every one of us, we're going to sign up as a VIP customer. This is a no-brainer. And so Jennifer walked up to me and she said, Alan, we see this as a great, and this is very telling, guys. She said, Alan, we see this as a great benefit, a great added benefit to all 4,000 of our employees. That says so much about this program. So it becomes a no-brainer to the organization, no matter how big or how small they are. Because we're not changing the buying habits of anybody. We're not trying to get them to buy something they don't already buy. We're going to pay them to support that organization, whatever it happens to be. And that's the typical response. Now, we don't have any brand name recognition today. And guys, let me tell you something. That is the most important thing I can tell every one of you on this call, is the fact that we don't have the brand name recognition. In other words, nobody knows about us. In other words, the market is wide open. You're at the very beginning of this. Now, this is not a brand new company. Doobly's been around since June of 2003. We're an 11-year-old company. I've been with the company for 6 years as of December 31st, 2014. I will be at the company 6 years. And I can tell you, I've been through all the growing pains. I know Chris Cameron's on the phone with me. He's been through all the growing pains. Shireen Novobranik over in Australia, she's been through all the growing pains with the company. The company has shot us in the foot so many times with start and stop and change and all this stuff. But you know what? That's just the way it is. You have to go through that evolutionary process to figure out finally what the marketplace wants. And I can tell you 2 things. I had no idea it was going to take this long, and number 2, I had no idea it was going to be this good. And I'm telling you, this I absolutely believe this with every fiber in my body. This is the greatest story I have ever seen. I'm no spring chicken. I'm 61 years old. I've owned 4 different businesses, and I've never seen anything like this. I'm more excited about Doobly today than at any time in my existence with Doobly. This is a phenomenal opportunity. So it's all about being in the right place at the right time. And it's just as true for you as it is for the nonprofits. Because think about it. Let's say that a local high school gets the parents to start supporting this. And one of the parents has a good friend who used to be a college roommate that lives out in San Francisco. And let's say this high school is in Atlanta, Georgia, or Marietta, Georgia, whatever, I don't care. Well, that person out in San Francisco who was an old college roommate of the parent that has a son or a daughter at that high school, she sends them a link. They sign up as a VIP customer. Now that high school has someone in San Francisco supporting their nonprofit causes. The girl in high school in San Francisco may or may not know that. She doesn't care. She's getting cash back for doing what she's going to do anyway. She's happy. And then she might tell her next door neighbor. She might know somebody who's stationed over in Berlin, Germany, for crying out loud. This thing can ping pong all over the world so that before you know it, you've got people in all 50 states that might be supporting the nonprofit for that little bitty high school. That's how dynamic this is. But that opportunity for these nonprofits isn't going to exist forever. You know, there's no such thing as saturation, but the marketplace is wide open. In other words, all the low-hanging fruit is right there. So if you get this, if you understand this, and I know I'm going past an hour and I apologize, but listen, this is a really serious business. And I hope everybody in here wants to do their due diligence. And by the way, I've thrown a lot of information at you. You need to get all your questions answered. And there's nothing wrong with being skeptical. You don't have to take my word for any of this. You need to do your due diligence. Get back to the person invited you on the call. If you want to engage in this, they're going to send you a link to dooblynetwork.com. Now, the customers never see this. They just go to doobly.com. You're going to click on Join Now, and you're going to go into Doobly Network, and you're either going to buy a team member package, but if you want to maximize income, if you want to build a balanced business, you're going to get a TLA package. Now, that's a much more expensive. It's $2,500 basically, plus you've got the $100 for your VIP membership. But that's the way you do this to really jumpstart your business, because you're going to start out as a team leader rather than a team member. You're going to start out with the ability to immediately start sponsoring nonprofits. And then once you get in here, let's say you're that stay-at-home mom and all you want to do is collect customers. That's fine. You can do that. And she can make a lot of money because she's going to earn a 25% commission on everything she does, everything her customers do. And it doesn't matter what her rank is, she's still going to earn 25%. So she could be a team member or a senior vice president. If they're her personal customers, if they're the referrals of her personal customers, in other words, if her customer base grows because of the viral growth, she's still going to earn a 25% commission on all those customers. But the second way you're going to make money is, I promise you what will happen, and it's happened to me time and time again. When I'm talking to somebody about being a customer, there's like, well, wait a minute, Alan, hold on just a minute. If the value to me as a consumer is this great, there's got to be a business model behind this. You've got to show it to me. So in other words, you're going to start sponsoring people into the business. And of course, the higher your rank here, the more override you're going to get on their customers. The more override you're going to get on the customers of the nonprofits that you sponsor, as well as the nonprofits that they sponsor. The customer acquisition piece to this is the Holy Grail. Now, this is how simple it is to build your business. And if you go out and try to sell anything, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. What you're going to do is you're going to get at least a team member package, or I really prefer the TLA package, and you're going to immediately go to Doobly and you're going to upgrade to a VIP membership. You're going to download this app for free, and then you're going to start getting cash back for your family on everything that you were going to do anyway. You're not going to change your buying habits at all. And, of course, the more you use the Doobly app, the more cash back you're going to have sitting in your cash organizer. Well, the more cash back you have sitting in your cash organizer, the more enticing, the more alluring that your story is going to become when you're sitting down with your friends at Starbucks, or maybe the soccer field, or maybe around the kitchen island, whatever the case may be. And they're going to say, now, wait a minute, how do we become a VIP customer? And you send them a link. And then once that starts happening, that's when the serious entrepreneurs show up and say, now, wait a minute, this person is building a real business based on real customers. We need to take a look at this. And that's how simple it is to build this business. Now, let me show you this slide, and let me explain it just a little bit. This is next to last slide. This is the power of the partner program. This is why you have to pay attention to this. Now, I'm not going to go into the details on this. I'm just going to do an overview, and I want to make sure everybody understands something. On this slide right here, I am not trying to make any income guarantees whatsoever. I'm trying to show you an example of what I know is possible. But I'm not trying to make any income claims whatsoever. But follow me on this explanation. Let's say that you come in with a TLA package because you really want to maximize your income potential. And let's say that you sponsor 3 people on your front line with a TLA package. Well, that gets you to the team coordinator status right away. If we help those 3 people find 3 each with a TLA package, then you become a sales director. You've only got 12 people in your organization, and you became a sales director. Now, what I'm going to show you on Sunday night, I'll do a training with this, and I'll go through all the details behind this. If you just go sponsor one nonprofit high school, I don't mean to say nonprofit high school. If you just sponsor one nonprofit, whether it's a high school, local church, doesn't matter, I don't care. If you sponsor one and we start making them successful at this, I guarantee you they are going to refer at least 3 or 4 to you. Now, I showed you the slide where I was talking to the Red Cross and Memorial Hospital. I didn't go through the example with that high school football coach. But here's the bottom line. After he realized he could get a 5% override off all the other high schools that he referred to me, 2 days later I got an email from him with 50 high schools he wanted me to call. He'd already talked to the coaches. It's not going to be a big deal, trust me, for you to get 3 referrals from that one. We did a presentation with Ohio University, not Ohio State, but Ohio University, the Alumni Association. And when I finished the presentation with the girl, before I could say a word about referring us to some other nonprofits, she said, "Alan, this is great." She said, "Listen, I've got 2 charities that I really believe in. They're doing some great work here in this town. Would you please show this to them?" She said that before I even told her that she could get a referral fee on this. And I said, well, I'd be happy to. So she gave us all the contact information. Point I'm trying to get to, guys, is you will get the referrals, I promise you. So let's assume that all of you, and I don't care how long this takes. It could take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't care. But let's say that all of you get 4 nonprofits, and let's say that they're all high schools. If those high schools, over the course of 4 years, 5 years, whatever, let's say they build up to where they've each got 1,200 VIP customers. 1,200. Now, that might sound like a lot for a high school that's only got 500 parents in it, or 500 families. But you got to remember something. When the kids graduate, those parents aren't going to stop doing it. And so then you've got new families coming in that next year to replace the kids that graduated. There's another set of parents. So none of them are going to leave. So it's not that, it might take some time. It might take 3 years, 4 years. I don't care. But you're going to have the 4,800, you're going to have 1,200 VIPs at each one of those schools. Well, here's what happens. If each one of those BAs that you brought in just goes out, and whether they get them from referrals or they do it themselves, they get 4 nonprofits. Each one of those nonprofits has 1,200 VIPs in it. At the end of that, including the 4 nonprofits that you get, you're going to be looking at $1.2 million a year. $1.2 million a year. Now, you did it with only 12 people in your organization. But let's say that I'm wrong. Let's say that you can only make 1/4 this. You can only make $300,000 a year. I got 2 questions for you. Number 1, is it worth it? And number 2, how stable is that income going to be, whatever it happens to be, whether it's $300,000 or $1.2 million? How stable is it going to be? It's going to be incredibly stable income because the customers, they don't know who you are. 99.9% of the customers in this scenario right here, they don't even know that you exist. And they don't care. It's all about what's in it for them. They're getting more cash back than they can get anywhere else. We're not changing their buying habits. This is the perfect storm for the parents, if you will. Maybe that's not a good analogy, but you get my point. Now, here's what I would encourage you to do. You need to get back to the person that invited you on this call. Get all your questions answered. Understand that, the next 6 months, in my opinion, are the most precious time you'll ever have at Doobly because nobody knows who we are. We're at the very beginning of this, even though we're an 11-year-old company. Okay? Now, you can see I do webcasts every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday night. Now, the ones that I do on Sunday nights, which I'll do this next coming Sunday, it's going to be a 2-hour webcast. It's not. I'm sitting here an hour and 20 minutes, and I apologize. But I'll go through some training. We'll take a 5-minute break in the middle of it, and I'll go through some training because I want to make sure everybody understands how to build this. I want to make sure that everybody understands how to maximize their income with this. And I want to make sure that everybody understands the significance of the business model that they've really got, that somebody put in their lap. But you know, it's not my job to try to convince you guys to do anything. I'm just here trying to paint the picture as best I can, as accurately as I can, because I do not need to hype this up at all. It's too great. You just got to understand it and decide what you want to do with it. If you don't ever want to present this to somebody, you don't have to. We'll do it for you. If you don't ever want to do a presentation to a nonprofit, as long as you've got the contact to get us in the door, I'll do as many nonprofit presentations as you want. It's in my best interest. It's actually kind of, if you really understand this, I work for you guys. You don't work for me. I got to help you be successful. Well, guys, listen, thanks for being on the call. I apologize we went over so long, over an hour, but this is just such a phenomenal business model. I want to make sure that everybody understands the significance of it. So get back to the person that invited you on the call, and if somebody sent you this video because you're looking at a recording of it, get back to the person that invited you or sent you the video and get engaged in Doobly. Guys, I hope to see you Sunday night. I hope you understand this, and thanks for being on the call. We'll talk to you soon.